I bought a cheap carbon frame from China and got it sent to me here in Australia. Now you guys get to pick what parts go on it and what videos we do. This is the Subscriber Bike. Hey guys, Phil from Trail Talk here, and welcome to the first episode of the Subscriber Bike, where you guys are going to help me pick the parts and what videos we do with the bike as well. So as always, I'm not here to waste any of you guys' time, so let's take a quick look at the bike and then we'll get into the details of the project. The frame is from Light Carbon and the model's a bit of a mouthful, so it's a LCFS 958. And I know what you guys are thinking, oh, that's not safe, it's gonna break, Phil. Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But at first glance of the frame, it looks really solid. It's actually overbuilt in a lot of areas and the layout feels pretty thick too, so I'm actually really impressed with the build quality so far. So as you can tell, the frame's carbon and it's pretty popular with these kind of catalog bikes. And what I mean by catalog bike, it's essentially an open mold. So if you wanted to start your own bike company, you could buy these wholesale and put your own label on it. Or in this case with Light Carbon, you can actually buy the frames individually as well. And that's what I've done here. So a lot of brands will actually use catalog frames and it definitely saves a lot of cost in terms of R&D. But the main difference you're going to find with a lot of brands that use these catalog frames comes down to the quality control. So a lot of brands will have different quality control procedures and they'll have different tolerances as well. So what might be a defect on one brand isn't on another. So yeah, it's going to really come down to the quality control of that company that's selling the bike. So with this frame, I know Light Carbon actually has their own quality control procedures. So they've got them on the website. You can kind of have a look there. I'll put a link in the description. But from looking at the forums, I've seen some really good things about the frame. You also get a 2-year warranty, and I've seen on forums a few people that have had any issues. They've been resolved pretty quickly, which is good to see as well. And the packaging was pretty impressive too. I didn't expect the packaging would be that good, but as you can see, it was actually pretty comprehensive. But it's the small details as well. All the lines are already pre-ran, so it's going to be easy to do the internal cable routing. And then for most of the pivot bolts as well, they use 8mm hex keys, so they actually can handle some torque. I've seen a lot of brands do 5mm stuff, and yeah, you can strip those pretty easily, so it's good to see. And the torque's marked on those as well, so yeah, 10mm for most of those, so it's good to see that's marked too. One of the main reasons brands will kind of stick away from using a catalog frame, other than kind of going to their more own suspension design that's kind of unique to their brand, is geometry. So typically catalog frames will have pretty dated geometry, but this bike's a bit of an exception. So the frame's built around 130mm of rear travel, and you can run 130 to 150mm fork up front. The size 19-inch I have here, you get a 76-degree seat angle, 67 head angle, 470mm reach, and a pretty low BB2. So that's pretty similar to a lot of shorter travel trail bikes that I've tested in the past, stuff like the Norco Fluid and that kind of range. But I'll definitely be interested once I've built up the bike to measure the geometry as well, to see how close it is and to see if it is shorter, longer, or anything like that as well. So it's all looking pretty great so far. The frame can also run 27.5 plus in a 2.8 width or 29 with 2.4s in the rear. It's boost as well, so good to see, modern standard there, nice boost frame, so it's going to be nice and stiff. There's room for a water bottle in the front triangle, threaded BB2, I love that. And the frame weighs in at a respectable 2.5 kilos, which is pretty respectable, slightly on the heavier side for a carbon frame, but I definitely prefer that. Hopefully it's a little bit overbuilt, so it's going to be a little bit stronger. So let's talk about suspension, because I know a lot of you have been looking at the frame and it looks kind of funky with the bridge and the seat tube, but it's actually pretty simple. So it's pretty similar to my Polygon Siskiyou T. It's a linkage actuated single pivot, but instead of having that pivot on the seat stay, you've got a flex stay, so the carbon has some inbuilt flex into it. So very similar to the new Stump Jumper carbon. So I've never actually ridden a flex stay before, so it'll be pretty interesting to test how it feels as well as the durability as well. Okay, so now you guys know about the bike, let's talk a little bit about the project. So every part on the build will be voted by you, the subscribers. And once the guy's built up, you guys are gonna vote what I do with the bike. Send it off a drop, within reason, I don't wanna hurt myself. But yeah, that kind of stuff like that. So all the voting is gonna take place on the community tab on my page. So if you go to my YouTube, go across the community, you'll be able to see the polls, but I'll put links in the description as well. And for the first round of voting, I need you guys to help me pick 3 different parts. So we're gonna start with the suspension, we're also gonna do the dropper post, and then we're gonna do the drivetrain as well. So I've put up 3 options for each, so go and vote on those now. And then after a week of voting, I'll take the winner of each of those categories. And once I announce the winner, it would be awesome if I could get your guys' help to message a lot of those brands to try and help them get on board with the build, because it'd be a pretty expensive project if I got everything. So if we can get some support from different brands, that would be awesome. And keep in mind with all the parts, this channel's about value. So we're gonna stick to what's the best value. So kind of where if you spend any extra, you're kind of not really getting much more performance. So think about kind of like Shimano Dior, Marzocchi Z2, kind of that level in terms of parts. So there you go, that's the first episode of the Subscriber Bike. I hope you guys enjoy the project. It's been an awesome process setting it up so far, and I'm stoked to see what you guys come up with all the parts. But as I said, I'll put the links in the description for the voting, or you can just go over to the community tab and vote there. And if you have any questions about the bike, the project, or anything to do with the Subscriber Bike, leave a comment below and I'll get around to answering it. And just before I finish, I wanted to thank you guys for 20,000 subscribers. And it's been awesome having your guys' support over the past 2.5 years. And I'm really stoked with the community that we've kind of built up. But yeah, let's get to building this, get to voting. And as always guys, thanks for watching. See ya.